see if he can get another win after that Bells Beach win he got. And yeah, after Griff got him at the Rip Curl Portugal.
Really exciting for Griffin also to show up again, multiple finals in the same season. He's thinking multiple wins as well. There's a lot of noise in the Red Bull Athlete Zone, a lot of commotion, people kind of pacing back and forth with finals energy. I saw Griffin visualizing, meditating in that amazing position with all the noise around him and just focused on winning this final against Filipe. Mitchell, to have that kind of focus is special. He's been definitely working on that headspace throughout the year.
Absolutely, and especially traveling with his dad right here in the summertime too. It's awesome to have that not only family support, but I also think the dynamic of them being able to surf together too makes it more of a surf trip rather than a competition trip.
Griffin Colapinto got through a huge heat against Gabriel Medina, and Toledo's just as gigantic, getting past Italo. Obviously, Toledo leading the charge as far as numbers are concerned. Laura, can he do what he did again with the 9.7, almost a perfect 10 with multiple airs on the same wave?
Yeah, that 9.7 was one to remember. I thought it could have even gone to that perfect 10-point ride, but you know, I think these conditions are so suited to both of these surfers right now. But I think, you know, Filipe after that 9.7 will be feeling very, very confident, knowing that while it's chopped up like this, that he can really make the most of some pretty wild sections.
How's the reputation of Toledo, Mitch? Everyone's favorite to win before we even showed up at Punta Roca, and look where he's sitting right now.
Yeah, I picked him to win too, and I don't think it only comes with the past experience he has at waves that are similar to this one. I also think that the expectations for his own self are the highest they've ever been too. He's been leading the rankings for quite some time, already won at Bells Beach, an event where he's finaled before, and now looking for a second championship tour victory this year.
Looking at the matchups with these two, it's been really fun. Obviously for Griffin getting a win in Portugal, the first of his career, as we check out the deep stats powered by Hydro Flask. Toledo got instant redemption at G-Land in the quarterfinals. So now 1-1, and they go into their third match, another final, this time here at Punta Roca. Toledo, patient in his positioning, but once he gets on a roll, he's hard to stop. Griffin Colapinto has made some interesting decisions in a lot of his heats. He kind of sticks to this present moment. He wanted to really blow up against Gabriel Medina. He actually fell in the early stages of that heat, and it was really brilliant to see him recover on a very close decision.
Yeah, I think it's been so cool seeing Griffin's evolution over the last couple of years, and just the way, like we were talking about, his headspace and the way that he can pull his, I guess, mental space back when he's, you know, makes these errors. And that was a very, very tight heat. He was standing on the rocks when he got the news that he just made the heat. So a wild heat between him and Gabby all day. It's just, I've been on the edge of my seat, guys.
Oh, it's been really special, including the heats that we had yesterday afternoon when it glassed off and it was pumping. Griffin was part of maybe one of the best heats all season with Kano Igarashi. He still got some great sleep in the lead up to finals day, even though his adrenaline was skyrocketing, and he knew he'd have his hands full with the Brazilian Storm, the only surfer that was non-Brazilian heading into finals day today.
Yeah, and that's a good point that you bring up too, because besides Kelly Slater, the last world champion for the USA has actually been CJ Hopkin in 2001. So not only does he have a lot to prove for himself, the state of California, but also for the United States of America too. They've never really had one person that stood out, obviously not counting the Hawaiian surfers, Carissa and John. I think it's time for one of them to actually step up and say, hey, I got home court at Lowers, I'm making the Rip Curl WSL finals, and you better watch out there when I'm going home.
It's really true, and you think about the California drought, you know, absence from CT wins since Bobby Martinez back in 2009. Griffin finally broke that drought back in Portugal. As we look back to the finals day, the size of the waves dropped dramatically, Laura, and this kind of looked like Filipe territory. Griffin ended up getting the jump on him.
It really did. This was such an exciting day, but Griff just going to town. These lefts looking Lowers-esque, and as Kalo Handino said, he really ripped the Band-Aid off for the California's winning drought. But yeah, these boys going back-to-back on some incredible high-performance lefts.
As you can see how strong Filipe still was, it really just came down to wave selection. Griffin just had slightly bigger waves and totally committed on his backhand, Mitch.
Yeah, and it was one score really, Joe, that made the difference. This one right here, as you were saying, the size of the waves was what was able to give Griffin the lead over Filipe, and he just never lost it at the end. But how about his composure in surfing these lefts that not only resembled Lowers, I actually think it looked a little bit more like T Street out there that day.
And there might even be some more T Street comparisons on some onshore days that we have right now. I think T Street might be one of the most difficult waves to surf
easily.
Well, and both Griffin and Filipe spend a lot of time out there on similar days.
Yeah, and Griffin was taking so much confidence from that 10-point ride, his first 10-point ride in his WSL CT career, doing that huge backside air. So yeah, that was a special event for him for sure. Good Steph, she's made her way up the rocks, the Punta Roga rock dance, and ready to celebrate that victory.
She is so used to this, spending a lot of time with the media, answering all the questions, and she looks forward to it. What a great way to celebrate a win, and you get to share your joy, all your work that you put in to becoming the champion. I mean, how do you bet against her when it comes to point break surfing? Well-deserved win for Steph as we get back into the men's final. Griffin Colapinto just trying to create something for himself down the line, and he'll end up kicking out. He actually checked out a wave before that at a .73. So we already got the priority rotation going. Toledo as well, .37 to kick things off. Earlier, Mitch, you brought up a final where Filipe beat Italo in Portugal, where I don't know if viewers realized how hard it was to surf that finals day. He can clean up any types of conditions and create big moments for himself. It's just a matter of time in this final.
Yeah, and with the extended time that they've been awarded to, 40 minutes is a long time. That's an eternity, really. And I don't think the use of priority is that significant in the first half. I think in the second half, though, a little bit more strategy-based surfing is what we're going to see from both gentlemen. But I also like the approach that Griffin has in this heat, just the same way that he approached the heat against Gabe. You need to break away, get a score on the board, and add some pressure to the world #1 at the moment.
That finally out with Italo was the breakthrough season for Filipe, where he had a few wins in the same year as Steph's enjoying the traditional chair up to the podium. And not an easy job to do here at Punta Roca. Well done.
Oh, I remember me and Dimity Stoll carried her up the rocks at Lowers when she won there a few years back, and yeah, I don't know how we didn't break our ankles. We just thought we had superhuman strength, and yeah, did the Lowers rock dance with Steph, who's like double our height on our shoulders.
Really incredible looking back at all those memories and wins with Griffin with a 1.43. Strider, Griff's got an opportunity to get a second win this season. What's he really focusing on right now?
He's focusing on anything he can see. He's looking way down by the caddies at the moment. He's just hunting around. The scary thing about both of these surfers is that they can catch any wave and make something out of it. So all he needs is that one little ramp, that one little section that's going to give him the opportunity to go above the lip. This wind is the new offshore. It's so perfect for the ramps, and that wind getting underneath the board will just give them the opportunity to go to the air and do anything they can possibly think of. So he's down here at the end looking around, hunting around whatever he can. Filipe sticking to his guns on the point, waiting for that one double up. So interesting juxtaposition of two different plans completely.
Thank you, Strider, and it's really interesting when you look at a final where you're thinking airs are going to make the difference, and both of them are very solid with their repertoire above the lip. There's actually a throw tail into the flats that I think is very comparable with Griffin and Filipe that maybe nobody else has on tour, Mitch.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right. We actually saw that in Portugal by both of the gentlemen, and as you said, they're very comparable. The big difference to me, though, it seems like Griffin, with his stature, it seems like he adds a little bit more power to those ones, Joe.
As we see the snap to start for Colapinto into a vertical climbing finish. He'll step off his best wave so far in the final, Laura.
Yeah, and Griffin, I was just peeking over my shoulder there. He's sitting so far down the point from Filipe. He's really broken away to try, just try get some scores on this wider section while, Felipe's sitting right at the top of the point.
As we see Strider in the distance as well, he got a message from the beach announcer that if Griffin's going to move down this far on the point, Strider as well has to adjust his position. Strider's not used to following rules, but he's definitely going to have to in the final.
He's going to be getting some bombs straight away. He's got the priority as soon as the horn blows.
So his nickname last year in Mex was Tortuga.
I love that nickname.
His nickname this year is Cangrejo, crab.
Crab. What was his
Tortuga,
translation?
Turtle was last year.
With a big pack on his back, Strider enjoying the final energy. What a great rematch from what we've had a few times this season. Score still waiting to drift in for Griffin Colapinto, and looks like Filipe is going to make the adjustment as well and head down the point.
Yeah, I can hear some whistlings on the beach. There must be some action about to happen.
3.33 for Lastic Griff. Toledo needs a 4.39 on this wave to go right into first. He's got that stall. He wants to ramp up. Clear for takeoff. Full rotation. Seamless on the landing. Right into a wrapping cutback. Now Toledo ramping up again. Big section. Throw tail reverse complete.
Wow.
The king of high performance has Medina needing to stretch that one out. Italo can't stop laughing. Toledo putting on a performance for everybody around the world, and he is a showman. He feels electric off the cloud. I think Toledo might do his best surfing in a jersey. It even lifts his performance more than even free surfs as we wait for the biggest score of the final to come in.
Yeah, Filipe about 20 minutes ago posted a video of him sitting in the ice bath over in the competitors area, just meditating and cooling down after. Yeah, it must get hot going in the air this high.
One more look, Mitch. What do you think?
Well, he almost even over-rotated here on the alley-oop, as you can see there. Beautiful transition and great use of the weight distribution on his board too when he was coming down. And as you can see here, he was just eyeing the section at the end, and that's his stock standard, as you were saying, Joe. That blow tail reverse that he can kind of push towards the beach. But look at the alley-oop though. He goes into transition right here, and look at the way he uses his shoulders to rotate, and he almost even over-rotates. That's why he has to bring the shoulder back around when he does that right there.
Wow, and huge scores coming in for Filipe Toledo, 9.57 for this second effort of the final.
Love the wrap in the combination, and then to rotate the other way just shows off his skill set. He didn't repeat the alley-oop motion, shows how talented he is in the above the lip to go the other way.
The variation and your muscle memory from the air right before, it's so difficult for you to kind of do that in the moment. I think there's a common misconception of people thinking that the hardest thing to do in surfing, especially in competitive surfing, is to do one major maneuver. Try doing an air, a combo with a turn, and then another air afterwards. That's why it was rewarded so high right here.
Well, he did repeat just what he did against Italo. What was a 9.7 in the previous heat, a 9.57 here in the final against Griffin. Colapinto now needs a 6.62. Strider, Wasilewski, Toledo is the man right now, putting on quite a show.
The man right now, the man. He's been the man. He's got that jersey on his back for a reason. I just love his gameplay. He's stuck to his guns. He knows where he needs to be in the lineup, and he sought out that perfect wave that had that nice clean face on it, and that wedge. They've been coming through. They're pretty consistent up there, but for him to just sit and wait and know it's coming, that's solid. And obviously for him to perform like that is just bananas. I mean, he's unbelievable to watch. Let's see what Griff's got right here.
Big carve for Griffin Colapinto. Nice clean wrap once again. Coiling up off the bottom, there's the snap to slide. More room on the inside for a frontside power carve. Jamming it off the oncoming section. A lot of variety for Griffin down the stretch. He will shut it down in the whitewater. Needed a 6.62. He's having a lot of fun. But Filipe is already checking out the wave behind him. Toledo with some speed. Clean frontside carve. Lays it down again quickly. And now stalling, setting up something big down the line. He'll just snap it shut. Clean read for Toledo. Now he's got a backup for the 9.57. 23.5 to go.
Wow, we've got a heat. Well, how exciting. That wave of Griff was super well surfed. That's going to get him back into the game. But yeah, Filipe getting a nice backup there. Just to, it almost looked like he was going to try to an air on that last section as we look at Griff's.
Yeah, Mitch, what do you think?
Yeah, a decent combo. Great first turn right there using his rails, and he really drived to that turn too. You can see how sharp those rails are on this board that Matt Giles made him for Punta Roca specifically. Another great one right there, and that's what this wing kind of does, Laura. It picks up that, I want to say, slight texture, and it kind of lifts up that section for you to actually attack it from a more horizontal phase. And then Phil on the outside, this is going to be a decent backup for him. Maybe not the section he was looking for right here at the end, but I like the way he approached this wave, knowing that he just needed to get something on the board to back up that 9.57.
He's got a great balance, doesn't he, of flowing and just surfing to the wave and then over surfing the potential of what you'd expect. Filipe can turn a small section into a giant score or a huge air, but he has flow as well, which makes him almost unbeatable in conditions like this. Already with a 9.57, you could feel his confidence from here. And I think there might have been a couple of years where he might have felt, you know, like he was in the shadow of De Souza, of Gabriel Medina, of Italo Ferreira getting world titles before him. But now this year, just with his confidence, it's like he's kind of feeling like the captain now of the Brazilian Storm.
He for sure is. He's the captain. He is the king of all the fun. Everyone that's around him in the Brazilian Storm, and everyone that's just been hanging out with him, even in G-Land, he's just always the best vibes. And you know what? I feel like even when he came onto the tour when he was young, he had a totally different stature. He was just skinny little Filipe, and he was still doing those same combos that he did on that 9.5. But now he's just doing it with double the energy and power and strength and height, and it's incredible to see.
Well, it's an interesting point too, because we know he's on a prototype model that doesn't have a name yet for Sharp Ice surfboards. If you come up with a good name, it might stick. But he won on this prototype back at Bell's. The big difference between his boards before is he actually did put on some weight, some good weight, some strength. So he has more volume than his boards in the past. And it's looking like he's got all the flow he needs. Meanwhile, numbers in for Colapinto, a 9-point ride. That's enough for the lead. Toledo still has a wave coming through, and his father Mitch is celebrating another excellent score.
Wow, we have a heat on our hands now, don't we?
And there's different ways to get to a score too. For those that are thinking, okay, was it comparable to the 9.57? The way he was able to use the wave differently, it's still an excellent score. And you saw that not only was he able to approach those big sections differently and maybe a little bit more strategically than Filipe did. Filipe kind of stuck to his air game on that wave, but the sections allowed for that. The sections on Griffin's wave didn't really allow for the same kind of attacks that Filipe had.
Great comparison. Toledo 9.57 going to the air in different rotations. Alley-oop, car, frontside air reverse, and Colapinto found a lined-up wave to do multiple power moves, mix things up with variety, and got his 9 in a different way. Last of Toledo now about to factor in as we have 21 minutes still to go in this final. Pretty exciting heat. Two guys firing at all cylinders. Colapinto wanting the run to get into the WSL finals for the first time, and Filipe turning in another great season last year as he finished runner-up in the world. So all things are going to plan. And we still haven't gotten to J-Bay yet, where Filipe has dominated in the past. Obviously in Brazil, Filipe really accepts that energy coming towards him. I think for a lot of Brazilians on tour, they're the most popular in that region.
Right.
Sometimes it can actually be overwhelming. For example, Medina still yet to win in his home country.
Yeah, and they've been the most popular surfers here at this event too. A lot of the fan base in Latin America actually kind of dives into the Brazilian culture, and they love them just as much as they love their local surfers.
These boys have some fast haircuts and sunglasses on.
They certainly do. All surf so incredibly quick. They've been hanging together since day one here in El Salvador, as we're standing by for the last score to come through for Filipe Toledo, as Griffin is still holding the lead. A couple of big 9s already, as Toledo is still just getting started.
Yeah, what a rotation right here. Look at the way he's able to eye this section, and look at the landing too. As smooth as Tennessee whiskey right there when he's coming down, and just a beautiful transitional maneuver into the carve as well. I love the way he places his feet on the board too, and look at how far back his back foot is. It's all the way back on the tail pad, Laura.
I just can't believe that coming out of that air, that his feet were in such a good position to be able to just do that wrap immediately, but he's done that before.
Griffin Colapinto, nice clean snap. He's got a lot of speed, air section, throws down the slob reverse, taps the whitewater. He's got more for us. It's almost like an inside corner at T Street back home in San Clemente. Jams it again off the lip. Can he fit in one more explosive move? Pops the fins out, rotates one more time. What a final.
He doesn't want to lose, Joe. He does not want to lose this one.
He has so much great energy, even on smaller waves to the inside. He probably knew that Toledo still has a score to come through, so he wanted to excite the judges quickly. Laura, what'd you see here?
Yeah, this was a small wave, but Griffin going to town on it. I love this slob there. Just whipping it around. He's surfing with so much speed, and just looks like he's having a fun time. But this wave going pretty small, so I'm not sure where the judges would go. But love that he just is surfing and having a really good time.
I mean, I don't know if you could surf a 1-foot wave any better than that, Mitch.
For real. No, and the variation too, the presentation of this high quality air, and look at that grab right there. As inverted as you could possibly get with the slop grab, and one of the more difficult grabs that we see in the sport of surfing too. And how quick is he in transition right there, going straight up into the lip line and then able to manufacture a score. As you said, out of a 1-foot wave, Joe, not easy to do.
So impressed, even fitting in a slob rotation, which makes that grab even more technical. As you can tell by his body language, he just wants to keep surfing, but it's Toledo's turn, up and out, as he was extra deep on that, using priority just to check out that wave. Filipe's score took a few minutes to lock in. It was a 5.17 to back up the 9.57, so he did get his lead back. So on Griffin's last runner with that slob reverse, he's chasing at least a 5.75. Judges have another big decision to make, Laura.
Yeah, they do. I mean, personally, I don't think they can go too high just because of the wave height there and how small the wave got at the end. But yeah, Griff I love that in his interview when he knew he was hopefully coming up against Filipe, he just wanted to go tit for tat, which is what these boys are doing. It's very exciting as we see some good-looking bumps rolling through the lineup.
This is what we've been waiting for. Filipe was just up and out, so he still has priority of where he's positioned here at Punta Roca. He'll let the first decision go by. So he's not just chasing anything down. There's certain waves he's identified with scoring potential. Meanwhile, Griffin will just roam way down the point. And he's up and out. Filipe likes the look of this wave. Just for a moment, and he hops out again. So it's kind of at that part of the day condition-wise where you just kind of have to take off and just check these waves out quickly. Griffin will get up again. And he hops out. That little inside runner where he did a lot of damage on turns in a 5.27. So Griffin stays in second. He needed a 5.75, Mitch. It
was close, and I think if, as Laura said, the wave would have been just a bit bigger and the sections would have been a bit heavier, I think he easily gets the score right there. But a 5.75 is not an easy score to come through with these kind of conditions we have right now, Joe.
What a battle with these two, Filipe Toledo and Griffin Colapinto, meeting for the third time this season in 2022. So far, Filipe leads out front. Will Griffin catch up? We'll find out right after this. Throughout the year, you can enjoy all that. You'll find out more information on worldsurfleague.com. Definitely not a late egg. He's in the middle of the final, looking for another big CT win, which could be his second of the season. He'll get a little bit lost on this last wave and have to step off. So priority will switch to Griffin Colapinto. So looking for the second win this season, but looking for his 12th championship tour win of his career. The only surfer with more CT wins currently in the draw is Gabriel Medina with 16 championship tour victories to go along with those 3 world titles. Griffin Colapinto likes the look of this wall right in front of Toledo, tail high, and he gets stuck on the landing. I think sometimes, Mitch, Griff can get pretty excited and maybe land something big right in your opponent's face. He pulls off that maneuver quite often, not this time.
No, he definitely does, Joe. And as you were saying, I think both of these surfers have a great amount of consistency in the kind of big maneuvers that they pull off during free surfs and in competition too. But in a final with a lot on the line, Griffin actually just moved up in the rankings to number 3 going into Rio. And for Filipe, what an opportunity to maybe extend that lead as of right now, leading the pack for the WSL Final 5. And if you look at the back end of the year, the next 3 events, he's won 2 of them twice, Rio and J-Bay, and he's looking good to win this final right now too.
Toledo's gonna roll in again. Already has a ton of speed, driving off the bottom, full rotation. Wrapping cutback to already combo it up. Nice driving forehand hook. Filipe once more. Taps that inside section. Forced to wrap one more time. Running through the inside corner with a roundhouse. Tail into this wave, almost complete. He'll just slap the reverse quickly. Buchecha loves it. And the world champs on tour, Italo and Gabriel Medina, getting behind Toledo now. looking for takeoff. Touching slob is Griffin Colapinto on the straight air. Hitting it off the top of the oncoming section. Nice connection there. Beautiful flow for the Californian. Snaps it hard through the whitewater. He will get all the way down the point for a solid re-entry. Mitch Colapinto loves it. And Griffin responding to Filipe's energy. This is exactly what you want to see in the final.
Wow, I've lost. I'm puffed just watching those two waves. That was such a long wave from Griffin, and wow, Filipe's first air there going super high. I love this. Just put on the brakes here, identifying that section and going huge, so fast, and the way you can spin that board around. Unfortunately, this wave didn't really give him much at the end. Getting a nice big wrap there, and working his way to the inside, and unfortunately just not really getting a big section here, but he finished it off well. Another nice little blowtail reverse.
He certainly did. He's so quick, and he just responds to the sections in front of him. Just to throw a reverse like that isn't easy after a long ride. That full rotation, though, something he can call on demand, Mitch.
Yeah, and he went supersonic on that one right there. The amount of speed that he had during this rotation. Look at how quick he goes around. I mean, that's a full 540 right there. Over rotates even just a bit too, but as I said before, the way he's able to land and then go straight into another maneuver, there's few people that can do that on the CT.
Then to Griffin doing a cool slob punt. Didn't go for a rotation there to mix things up, Laura.
Yeah, this was such a wild wave. He got the nice air at the start, and it just felt like he was doing so much down the line work, but making the most of it. That section looked super fun. Smashed the tail out there and just was working his way down to this critical little section on the inside to finish off.
Impressive from this angle, Mitch.
Yeah, no, I love the variation that he's presenting too. If there's one thing that I will say about this wave, though, there was a lot of down the line work, as Laura said, but looking at this air right here, how original is this too? We haven't really seen a single slob like this that's just a straight air in competition. I would have to say in a few years. Jordy did one the other day. There was more of a straight grab, but nice variation, and good example there by not only Filipe going with the rotation. Griffin recognized that he needed to do something completely different to kind of take away the attention from the judges too.
What a great final, Strider. I might say it for you. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? I mean, come on, you guys. This is some great entertainment, but I think the toughest job in the world right now is to be a judge. But can you imagine sitting up there trying to figure out dropping these scores for these guys? It's unbelievable. Oh, we got a little situation here.
Okay, pack the mic, Strider. We'll talk to you soon. Judges putting in the numbers for Colapinto and for Filipe Toledo on the last exchange. Filipe punched out the full rote to start, and that score is a 6.43.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Last score for Griffin Colapinto, a 7.0. So Griffin wins the last exchange with the big lofty frontside slob to start. Toledo just under, but Filipe still has the lead because he's got a 9.57 to break a 16-point total tie for first.
Are you kidding me? He needed the 6.43 and he got that. Wow, doesn't get much closer than this.
So they're completely tied at 16 points. To break the tie, you go to your high single score. They both have 9s, and it's Toledo's 9.57 to stay out in front at the moment. And tie breaks don't happen in finals.
They don't.
It happened once at Bell's. Adriano de Souza, McFanning a few years back, and at that time it had never happened before. Let's see if they've got more surfing left in them with 7 minutes to go, Mitch.
Well, and an important moment right here in the development of the heat too. They can't stop paddling until they hear the beach announcer tell them who's been rewarded priority here, because it's a close one as of right now. 7 minutes to go. I wouldn't even be looking back at the scoreboard looking to see if my color's up there, because I actually think that the winner of this final is going to come out of the person that gets rewarded priority right here.
And you can see Griffin taking the out the back line to try not have to paddle against that current there. And I think Filipe probably will get it, as he does look to be a bit closer to the takeoff zone.
And he had the first wave out of the exchange too, so if it's close, they usually give it to the first person.
Yeah, waving his arms, asking, and he's got it. He got the priority.
Barely though. I mean, that was close.
We'll see if that determines the outcome of this final. Incredibly close. When you have a tie, You could talk to a couple of judges. They might have Filipe winning. The other half might have Griffin winning. So it's a split decision from the panel on who's winning this final right now. And you can't really blame them. The different types of surfing, the different types of airs. One thing we know that they're both absolutely ripping right now.
They're both absolutely ripping. And looking at those last two scores of the boys, I would say, I mean, personally, I thought, Felipe's first air was where majority of his points came from. But Griffin's wave was just so different, so long down the line. And I think just getting to do so much work at the back half was what got his score above Felipe's.
You break down Felipe's air. I don't know if anyone could spin quicker than that man can. And he's so explosive how he can just pick his board up. That stance gets wider and he can stomp it. And he doesn't need any recovery time before he goes into the following turn. Then you compare Griffin's air. He had the height, the amplitude, and it has a really creative start. And like you mentioned, not a type of air you see all the time with that slob grab involved.
Yeah, it was creative and it was fun too. It was entertaining, it was different. But as we mentioned before, I think the different ways of getting to a score was something that was really similar in their nines and with their low scores that are at their backups at the moment. Because if you look at it from a perspective of judging, you're usually looking for those bigger sections on the outside. As you mentioned, Laura, Phil had the one big air on the outside, but the rest of the wave was kind of lackluster. For Griff, he had those transitional turns in the moment in between. Big air on the outside and a decent finish too. So which one did you like better? They like reds a little bit better, but at the moment on two waves, it's yellow that's taking the lead.
Yeah, and looking at the difference between the two nines, Felipe's nine, short wave, three turns, two big, amazing airs, and Griffin, he got like 50 turns in.
He's been finding these rights that just keep on giving, and even the 5 he threw away was so impressive how fired up he is for this final. He did come out of his meditative state, high-five his dad, got a big hug from him. He started seeing a couple of friends on the way down, so he kind of released his meditative focus and started getting himself fired up to compete with another shot at Toledo. Remember, 1-1 this season. Quarterfinal victory for Toledo over Griffin at the last event going left. And then Griffin beat Filipe in Portugal, an event that Felipe's won in the past. It's interesting, too, when you think about what a win means for a guy in yellow right now. Last year, Toledo wasn't the #1 seed. He had to come from behind at #3 seed in the WSL Final 5 and first get through Italo and then get to Medina. We talked about last season what would be the advantage, to roll into the title match or to be favored as a #1 seed and just wait to see who your sparring partner is going to be. Laura, do you see an advantage there?
Yeah, I mean, I loved watching Filipe go through at #3 and make it up and have those heats against Gabby last year at the finals. But I think he surfs that wave so much and knows it. So coming in at #1 will be a huge advantage for him to go into those 3 do-or-die heats.
And we knew how close it was between himself and Jack Robinson when we got here to Punta Roca. So he covers some ground there. Tail high reverse quickly for Colapinto under priority. Flowing into a wrapping cutback. He needs a 7.01. Big frontside punt. Throws down the reverse and lets out the emotion. Scotty Hammond's high-fiving Mitch Colapinto. Two guys from Southern California excited for Griffin staying in this final, Mitch.
I don't think there's going to be a real loser in this final, to be honest. I think both gentlemen have given their all in. Boy, what a way to act under pressure, too, by the young Californian right here. Just a great spinner on the first one, and then the finish, too. Awesome.
I think that if Griffin gets the score here, Filipe will definitely be kicking himself. He got his under priority.
So Filipe with priority said, go ahead, Griff, take it away. Laura, what'd you see here?
Yeah, this was amazing blow tail. He's done those ever since he was 10 years old at lower trestles, and the wave died out here, but he got this bonus section here to go to the air, and that was super critical. Tail landing in the water, and he absolutely loves it.
Again, 2 rotations, but different rotations as well, Mitch.
Exactly, and look at the depth of the bottom turns too. You can see the line that he was kind of taking for that first blow to reverse, and that's the one that you're talking about where he kind of throws it forward instead of towards the beach. I like the transition right there into the car, but he was always eyeing this last section too. And look at that rotation. As you said, a flat section. It's really hard to land like that.
Last score coming through for Griffin Colapinto, turns in an 8.0.
Wow.
Griffin takes the lead under priority. and Toledo let him go on that wave.
Wow, big mistake right there, and Griffin just shut me up. I said that the next person that was going to have priority was going to end up winning the heat. So far, it's the surfer in red now.
8 points for making a decision under priority. His awareness and heats are absolutely incredible. Filipe Toledo now needs a 7.43 to answer back. Once you get that winning feeling, people say it's infectious. We're down to 55 seconds for Filipe Toledo to find a 7.43 to win this final.
Wow, I cannot believe the way these last final minutes have unfolded.
Filipe is so dangerous in finals. Oftentimes peaks when he needs to. Kick things off with a 9.57. Everything was going his way.
There's one more wave.
30 seconds to go.
Ooh, there's one more wave, Joe.
It's actually looking like a good set.
It's all coming down to this. Filipe looks like he'll have a chance.
He's got a pat. Ooh, that was it.
That one's going to roll through, down to 10 seconds. Griffin still up now, looking back to see if Filipe is going to find anything to catch in the last few seconds of this final. And it's over. Griffin Colapinto steals the win off Filipe Toledo here at the Surf City El Salvador Pro for his second CT victory this season.
Wow, I cannot believe that. 2 minutes to go. Absolutely clutch by Griffin. What a final. Are you kidding me?
For real. I think we had the heat of the year with Griff against Kanoa. I just think we upped one better right here in this final right here, Joe.
Really impressed with this young Californian superstar finding his feet on the championship tour. He can't even stand right now. What a feeling.
2 finals to Griffin right now over Filipe this year.
And that's one of the toughest things to do. Griffin Colapinto shaking things up on the rankings, accomplishing his second victory of 2022. And he was so incredibly clutch in doing it. All the momentum to start was with Filipe, 9.57. That just fired up Griff. 9.0 to follow, Mitch, to keep himself in the game.
Yeah, and the way he was able to defeat Filipe, too, the current leader of the rankings, comparable in the air, comparable on the rails, and the wave selection for him, too. He broke off immediately as soon as he saw Filipe moving up to the point as the heat started. And what a way to cap off this event.
And I think it comes down to the technical ability of Griffin Colapinto, not repeating types of airs. He did a slob reverse, then a slob straight air. And on the wave that he got to turn the heat, he had 2 different variations. Judges loved it, called it excellent surfing.
So much variety, so exciting to watch. I'm sure this is going to sting for Filipe, but wow, what a triumph for Griffin Colapinto.
Toledo obviously still in yellow and more finals than anybody this season, as Griffin is just starting to let it all fly. The first champion here in El Salvador, feeling like he's right at home. And he definitely worked incredibly hard, Mitch. Caught a lot of waves, saw different parts of the point that were really going to allow him to open up in the heat.
And out of the people in the final, he was the only one in the elimination round, too. So had to surf more heats than anybody else in this event, too.
Let's hear from Griff with Strider.
Well, we got our champion here, El Salvador Pro, Surf City, presented by Corona. Belongs to you, my friend, Griffin Colapinto. You are the champion. Thanks, Strider. Crazy. I was just so baffled that we were tied and I was losing by 0.01 or a tiebreak or whatever. I just was thinking, it can't end this way. I gotta figure it out. And then, I mean, comeback performances are literally, those are what I dream of. So if I'm in that position, it's just, I love it. So I mean, Filipe and I had some good battles. He beat me at G-Land, so I'm psyched to get him back here. But frick, he's been surfing so good on that 9. I was 9.5. He got, yep. Okay, typical Filipe, just doing his deal. So, man, just this final feels better than the Portugal one. So, just soaking it in. You said you felt good after that huge rotation on the inside. Did you know you got the score? Oh, here comes the set. We're gonna get caught inside. We're gonna let Griff go in.
Nice work on the duck diving. Thank you so much, Strider, and thank you so much, Griffin Colapinto. Just rewriting the end of that heat, breaking the tie with a big 8-point ride on the last exchange to become the champion of the Surf City El Salvador Pro. Coming up next, the Corona Post Show to to talk about all the major highlights of an incredible day for pro surfing.